Hi guys, um, welcome to today's tutorial. Let me just brief you on what we treated the other time. So the other time we just looked at object-oriented programming and um, we look at the concepts relating to object-oriented programming. We said there are about four concepts that we need to know when it comes to object-oriented programming. The first one being abstraction, then we have encapsulation, we have inheritance, and polymorphism. So that is it for what we treated the other time. In today's tutorial, we are going to look at one of the concepts, inheritance. So we are just going to look at everything about inheritance, and we are not just going to look at the meaning of inheritance, but we are going to write code in Java to explain what inheritance means. So yeah, so that is the agenda for today. We are looking at inheritance. So first of all, let's define inheritance. So what does it mean by inheritance? So when it comes to object oriented programming, this is what it means. It is a mechanism where you can derive a class from another class for a hierarchy of classes that share a set of attributes and methods. But don't get confused with this definition, because the main meaning is just what you know. Like inheritance is just picking the properties or the methods or the like attributes of someone, right? So like sharing the same attributes as someone. So an example is when you share attributes with your parents, like your mother and your father, your hair color, your face, who your face looks like more, or your height and all those things is related to what we call inheritance. When it comes to programming, the inheritance we are talking about here is that we'll be having a parent class. That parent class will probably be giving birth to some child classes, and those child classes will inherit the properties of that parent class. So in a way, if the parent class has some methods, it has some attributes. That is what we call them in C, properties, or in programming, in object-oriented programming, we call the properties attributes. And then we have methods, which are also known as procedures. So all this, when we have this, they can be inherited by the class that the parent gave birth to. So the parent is normally known as the super class, because it is the main class where all the inheritance starts from, right? Then the child is known as the subclass. So that is inheritance. So now let's go into coding. Let's write some code to explain what we mean by inheritance. So I hope you are excited to write code today. So in today's code, it will be really very nice. And um, there is one thing that I would like you to know. We are not going to be learning about the IDE here, but one thing is this IDE is very good, and the name of the IDE is IntelliJ IDEA. So I think in most of our meetings, most of our communications, we made mention that make sure you install IntelliJ IDEA. So make sure you install IntelliJ IDEA, and we are not going to be showing you how to use it here. We are simply going to use it and help you understand what inheritance means. So what the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create um, a class, and I'm going to call this class inheritance, so that it makes sense more for us. So, or let me change it. Let me call it parent. Okay, so it makes sense more to call it parent, because you'll be inheriting from your parent. Okay, so I've just created a class called parent. Now I would want to give this class some certain properties. So let's say um name of the family. So string family. I'm going to call this family Azebu family. Okay. Then how long has the family been? So let's say um, uh, 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 let's say age of the family. So the age of the family, let's say the family has been around like for over 30 years now, right? So let me have some methods as well. So anytime void, I'm going to have a method that will print the name of, so void family name. So this method will simply print the name of the family. It takes no argument. It's just going to return a string. Okay, so um, I have my system.out.println here, and then what I'm going to print here is the name of my family is, and then I print the name of the family, which is family. That is the um, that is the name I've given to that property. So this is a method, right? Now let's look at another method. Let's say family age, and take note of how I'm naming the methods and how I'm naming the classes. Anytime you are naming classes, you start with uppercase for the first letter. For methods, you start with lowercase for the first letter. That kind of naming convention is what we call the camel case naming convention. I'm sure you know about that, so I'm just reminding you about that. So the family age is, now let me put the age of the family there. So the family is let's say is 10 years old. So let me just add the years as well. Good, good. So now I'm going to create another class. I'll call it child, and that class will inherit from the parent. But in Java, how do you specify inheritance? So I'm going to simply show you how you can specify inheritance. You use the keyword extends. So when you write the keyword extends, then you give the name of the parent that you want to inherit from. So the parent is the one, the name of the class I want to inherit from is the parent here. Yeah, so that is the name. So I will inherit not only the properties but as well the methods of that particular class. Good. So let's move on. Now I've just created a class called child, which will inherit whatever my parent is. So now let me write a main method here so that we can actually print something out to see how this thing works. So let's first create an object out of the subclass, the subclass that we have here. So I'll just call it subclass, and I'm creating a new a new a new type or new object from this subclass. So that is it. Now remember, it has inherited from the parent class, so it will probably be having the properties of the parent. So you can see inside the pop-up here, we have age, we have family, which is the name of the family, we have family age, which is a method, then family name, which is also another method. We have some other methods which come anytime you write a class. So that tells you that those kind of methods are all they also mean that any class you write in Java will inherit from the main object in Java. You can learn about that more when you Google about that. So anytime you write a class in Java, it inherits from the main object. The main object has these properties: clone, equals, hash code, to string, get class. We'll not get into that, but the only things we are interested in now is these four properties that appear: the age, family age, and family name. So let's say I want to print the age of the person of the family. So um, subclass dot age. Let me see why. Okay, let me give this a different name. So let's say object, and this object will be having some age, or okay. So actually the age there is an integer, so I'm picking that age from the object and storing it in an integer. Okay, then I'm going to print that out for you to see. Let me print a, sorry, we have system.out.println here, not print. So the age will be printed. Let me see what we have here. What do we have? um so let's wait for it. It's loading up. Okay, so you can see the age has been printed as 30. What was the age of the parent? It was 30, which means this child class has just inherited what? The age of the parent. The same way we can talk about the name of the parent. So string, let's say name equals object dot family, because the family holds the name of the, so we can also add that here. So let's say plus some space there, and then we add name, so that we can print that name together with the age. So let's see what happens here when we do that. Okay, so you can see that the properties and the methods are being inherited, right? Let's try for the methods as well. So s out, let's print something for the method. So the object will be having the family age method. So family age there. Let me see. Okay. Okay, so the family age is already having a system.out.println. So instead of putting it in a system.out to print out, I'll just simply call it. And when I call it, it should print out what I want. That is the name of the family. And let's wait for it. It's loading up. Yeah, so that is it. The family age is 30 years old, and we've just done inheritance, right? Now let's look at the other one, which is family name, so that we confirm that the inheritance is really working. Great. The family name is Azebu family. Okay, good. So that is inheritance. Now let's look at one important key thing about inheritance. Inheritance is not just to inherit code, it helps us to prevent rewriting of code. So instead of me saying that this child class 2 should have some properties like family name and family age, then there's some methods like family name, and then some methods like family age as part of it. I should have a parent that has all those properties, and I should just inherit from them. So at the long run, I don't end up rewriting those same codes again. Another importance is overwriting the codes that you already have in the parent. So after inheriting, you can actually change those kind of codes. You can change the method to print something else. You can change the age, you can change the name. So let's try that. So that is known as overriding methods. Overriding. I hope I spelled it right. Overriding methods. Okay, so great. Now okay, I should do this outside the main, because the main is where I run my codes, not, so I need to, it's also a method, so I can't be putting another method there. So now let's override the methods. How do we override the methods? Okay, how do we override? There is a simple way of doing it when it comes to IntelliJ. Just right click, then go to generate, then override methods, right? So these are the methods that are related to the particular parent class, but the two methods we are interested in here is the family name and the family age. So I'm just going to click on shift to select all of them, then I click on OK. So this is what happens. You see that the methods have been rewritten. Okay, they have been written here again, and you can see some sort of keynote to tell you that this method is an override, like we already have it with the parent class and it has been rewritten. Okay, so now let's put out something here to see if we can put some statement here to just override. So let's say this method has been changed. Great. Now let's um, click. Okay, before I click, I need to put it in my main class because that's where I want to run it from. So object dot family name, rather. That's what I made the changes to. So family name. Great. Now let's see what happens when I run my code now. You see that earlier on when I didn't put it in the main, nothing came. So this place is just empty. So let's see what comes. Okay, so we have something, right? It looks like there is some little change, but there wasn't much change. You will see that the name of the family is Azebu family. This method has been changed. You could see that what the parents had is still being printed along with what we also wrote there. Okay, that would be good. Maybe probably you don't want to change everything about the parents. You want to maintain the parents' property, but you also want to add something to that. That would be good. But let's say you want to actually take up all the properties of the parent, right? How do you do that? Remember when we generated this override method, you saw this keyword super. This keyword super dot family name is telling us something, right? What is telling us is that anything that is from the family. Earlier on I told you the super represent the parent class, while the subclass represent the class that is inheriting from the parent class. So the parent class is referred to as a super class, and we use this super keyword to inherit everything about the parent, including all its properties before we even do override. So in this case, this particular super family name is being inherited. Everything within that is being inherited along with any change we do to it. Okay, so after doing the inheritance, it inherits this, then also it also adds this system.out.print to it. And you could notice that I'm using system.out.println a lot, but in real code you may be writing some algorithms that make that do some um, excellent things, right? So it's not just using the print statement, but we can have several ways of working with inheritance. Inheritance will be very important when it comes to code reusability, so please take note of that. So the super keyword helps us to inherit everything from the parent, right? You may probably want to go and learn about that a little, so you can Google that and find out how the super keyword works. So now let me take the super keyword off and let me reprint this and show you the difference. Okay, earlier on you could see that this was what was printed. This was what was printed. Now let's see what will be printed. Great. So we've just changed everything relating to our method family name, right? That is really interesting. So in a way, we've not really written a new method, but we've just inherited a method and changed how that method should behave, right? We change how that method should process data, right? So you could say that it becomes easier, right? It becomes simple. We could change the properties as well. So um, let's now end our inheritance here. So that is all about inheritance, right? Just simply what? Inheriting the properties of the main class, and then you can override those properties, you can override the methods and all the other stuff. So like there are some interesting things about inheritance that you probably would want to read about more. This is just simple codes just to explain to you how they are working. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. I hope you subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you another time. Okay, bye.